Welcome back, and we start with our first segment of our breakfast show with our press review, and we are joined in the studio by Mr. Mohamed Sheta, a media expert. Hello, sir. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you and to all the viewers, of course.
Thank you so much. So, first we're going to start off with Ahram newspaper, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met on Tuesday with the new chief of the Arab League, Ahmed Abul Ghait. At the start of the meeting, al-Sisi congratulated the newly appointed official, hoping more success for him, expressing Egypt's desire to enhance the Arab solidarity and join action. According to the presidency spokesman, Ala Youssef Abul Ghait asserted his keenness to do his utmost to serve the Arab causes. What's your opinion about the new appointment of the former FM Ahmed Abul Ghait to be Arab Chief League?
Well, we have seen, of course, the disputes which took place during the elections of the new Arab League General Secretary, and of course, Qatar was not very happy with the suggestions of having Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghait, the new Arab League Secretary. Nevertheless, he was elected afterwards, and this shows again how important Egypt is in the peace process in the region and for the Arab countries in general. Of course, Mr. Ahmed Abul Ghait, he had been involved in several discussions, high-level discussions over the past couple of years, in which he was in the position of Foreign Minister of Egypt. So I think this will give him a very good advantage, as he has much more insight than anyone else who was not in that position. So,
but sir, why Egypt chose one of the old regime to be a chief of the Arab League?
Well, I think it's more about the experience and more about the involvement he was involved in the cases he was involved in solving. So maybe this was probably one of the most important reasons for naming him as Egypt's choice for this position. Nevertheless, at the end of the day, we need to have results. So I hope that he will be able to strengthen the position of the Arab League, not only in the region but also on the international on an international level.
Okay, moving to Al-Akhbar Al-Yom newspaper, where we read President al-Sisi said on Tuesday that the murder of the Italian student Giulio Regeni earlier this year will not affect Egypt's relations with Italy. In a meeting with a delegation from the NATO Parliamentary Assembly in Cairo, al-Sisi stated that Egypt was committed to a full, transparent cooperation with Italy to reveal the truth and bring the perpetrators to justice. The President also expressed his confidence in the strong Egyptian-Italian relations, adding that these individual incidents will not affect this relationship. al-Sisi also discussed with the NATO delegation the latest developments in Libya, where he stressed on the importance of having a unified international vision in resolving the country's civil conflict, adding that the military action was not enough and stressing the need for political settlement. Sir, we've been for a long time in the story of Giulio Regeni, and every now and then we hear there is a new update, and that the government has captured the perpetrators and those who killed Regeni and tortured him, and then we find that these are not the real doers, and they are looking for other people. So what's the story of Giulio Regeni and when it's going to end?
I think it's a very sad story, of course. It's a very unfortunate incident which happened, but nevertheless, I'm a little bit surprised by all this hype which is happening in Italy and also in other European countries like Germany, for example. I've seen some German media really concentrating on this issue, and of course we have a couple of Egyptian and Middle Eastern writers in several European newspapers who kept on throwing fuel into the fire. So I think this issue is taking too much, and the hype is going too much on this subject, and I'm a little bit also surprised by the statements of the the Italian Minister of Foreign Affairs, for example, which he did recently, and I think it was a very wise decision from the Egyptian government not to respond to those accusations and statements in order to maintain the good relations with Italy. And another point is Italy should know that criminal incidents happen everywhere, and I think the Italian government and the Italian people know exactly what the Italian mafia has been doing, not only in Italy but also outside Italy. For example, in Germany, I can recall that a couple of years ago, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was also there were also several murder incidents which took place and which were conducted by members of the Italian mafia on German soil. So I think they should. It's a very unfortunate incident. I'm not finding any excuses for this. But
Italy is asking for the responsible for this action. Do you believe that Egypt doesn't know who did this action, or they don't want to give them?
Well, I think the Egyptian government is not that stupid that they would know who the killer is, and they wouldn't tell the Italian government.
So they don't know the killer?
I think killing the killing of this young gentleman at that certain point and time where there was a high-ranking Italian delegation coming to Egypt, why would the Egyptian government do that? I mean, are they harming themselves? This is a little bit ridiculous. You know, the whole circumstances are a little bit weird, because if, for example, let's say if indeed someone from the Egyptian government hypothetically thought that they should kill this young gentleman because for whatever reason he was the interviews he was doing or whatever he was doing in Egypt, they wouldn't choose that timing, you know, right when the delegation was here. So I think it was probably who did this. It was either a very stupid and banal criminal act, or it was someone who really wanted to harm the Egyptian government and put the embarrass the Egyptian government at that time. But why until this
moment we cannot find the door?
Well, I think maybe the Egyptian government was not very lucky in handling the issue and the awareness campaign about this incident during the past couple of weeks. I think they could have been maybe a little bit better in handling this issue, especially in communicating with the foreign press and also the public opinion, not only in Egypt but also in Italy. So maybe this was the only thing for which I would blame the Egyptian government at that point. And hopefully that they will solve it and reach a convincing agreement with the Italian government very soon.
Well, we have a report about the meeting of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with the NATO delegation. Let's have a look.
President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi met with a visiting NATO delegation in Cairo on Tuesday. President al-Sisi reviewed with the delegation efforts underway in Egypt to push forward the integrated development on the political, economic and social levels, confirming that Egypt is in a state of law. During the meeting, the head of state said the parliament has begun contacts with the NATO's Parliamentary Assembly to stand at developments being witnessed in Egypt during the past few years. The president noted that the two sides began reviewing Egypt's point of view regarding a number of regional issues that affect the security and stability in the Middle East. al-Sisi asserted that the region's instability is affecting the entire world, citing terrorist attacks in a number of European and African nations. He called on collaborating efforts by the international community to combat terrorism. Meanwhile, al-Sisi confirmed Egypt's keenness to continue fully and transparent cooperation with the Italian side in the ongoing investigations of killing Italian student Regini, expressing his deep regret for the killing. In this regard, al-Sisi said Egyptian citizen Adel Muawad has disappeared in Italy since October 2015, stressing that such individual incidents should not affect Egyptian-Italy relations.
And moving to Al-Ahram Online, where we read official sources said on Tuesday Egypt will sign the final version of 4 funding accords with Saudi Arabia worth roughly $22 billion to come into effect on Friday during King Salman's first official visit to Cairo. The Saudi King Salman, who took power in January 2015, visited Egypt in March 2015 for the Arab League Summit in Egypt's southern Sinai city of Sharm el-Sheikh. On the 4 accords, the North African nation is expected to finalize 2 frameworks agreements of soft loans signed in March, with the first worth about $20 billion to finance its 5-year petroleum needs from the oil-rich kingdom and the development projects in Sinai. And we have more in the following report.
Official sources said on Tuesday that Egypt will sign the final version of 4 funding accords with Saudi Arabia worth roughly $22 billion to come into effect as of Friday during King Salman's first official visit to Cairo. The Saudi King Salman, who took power in January 2015, visited Egypt in March 2015 for the Arab League summit in Egypt's southern Sinai city of Sharm el-Sheikh. Of the 4 accords, the North African nation is expected to finalize 2 framework agreements of soft loans signed in March, with the first worth around $20 billion to finance its 5-year petroleum needs from the oil-rich kingdom, and the second worth $1.5 billion for 12 development projects in Sinai. The government will also sign an agreement of concessional loan with 450 million Saudi riyals, which was approved by the Saudi Development Fund in January to rejuvenate Egypt's historical Qasr al-Aini hospital. Another $100 million loan approved by the SDF in November 2015 to finance the expansion of the West Cairo power station to generate an additional 650 megawatts is also among the deals to be completed. Saudi Arabia has supported Cairo with billions of dollars in aid, grants, oil products, and cash deposits to help by the country's economic following the toppling of President Mohamed Morsi in July 2013.
And still with Mohamed Sheta, media expert, shedding more lights on the news. Sir, the visit of King Salman to Egypt, how do you see the importance and the significance of such a visit, and of course the timing?
Of course the timing is quite interesting because as we know, both Saudi Arabia and Egypt, they have lots of potential for improving their economic situation at this certain moment, and the fact that there will be some agreements signed between both countries definitely will help. The more business deals are signed between Egypt and any other foreign investor is definitely an advantage for the Egyptian economy and the Egyptian local investors as well. So the timing is definitely quite interesting. Of course, also Saudi Arabia needs to strengthen its economic position worldwide, and investing, as we know, that they have been suffering an economic crisis during, not crisis, but a mini crisis, I would say, during the past couple of years. And of course they want to enlarge their portfolio of investment, not only inside Saudi Arabia, but also outside Saudi Arabia. So I think both countries will benefit from such a visit, because King Salman and the Saudi Arabian economy in general is definitely a key player in the region. So having this visit at this time definitely will help, I think, both economies in finding new investment opportunities on both sides. And of course they will discuss definitely the most important current issues, like fighting terrorism, for example, and of course we know that Saudi Arabia is very active in Yemen currently, and I think they need to have more support, not only from Egypt but from all the countries in the region. And I think this visit is also keen on proving to the Western countries that Saudi Arabia and Egypt are on the same line.
Okay, moving to أخبار اليوم, where Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri received, and she's a number of members of the follow-up committee of the Syrian opposition's Cairo conference. The meeting came in the framework of the continuous communication and consultation with the Cairo group to discuss the developments of the Syrian crisis in light of the imminent resumption of the Geneva talks between the Syrian parties under the umbrella of the United Nations next week. Foreign Minister spokesman Ahmed Abu Zaid said that the minister was keen on listening to the Commission view during the meeting to see the next steps to push the political process in the framework of Geneva talks in order to reach a solution of the Syrian crisis by preserving the unity of Syria, stopping Syrian people bloodshed, defeating terrorism, and building a democratic multi-party state. So still Syria is plunging into chaos and is in a deep crisis. We found that the opposition are moving from one country to another, holding talks, and whenever they say a statement, they found an opposed stance from Bashar al-Assad because the top of their schedule or agreements is the Assad is to leave Syria first, which is something definitely rejected by al-Assad. How do you see the situation in Syria so far, and what is the next step that Syria is going to move in?
I think that some of those opposition leaders are not really looking for the sake of the Syrian people, because we've seen over the past couple of years how the Syrian people are suffering. Nowadays they will be even suffering more after the recent agreement between the European Union and Turkey, which is about returning some of the Syrian refugees back to Turkey, for example. I think that some Syrian, those so-called Syrian opposition leaders, I think some of them are looking for their own sake, actually, and I think at the end of the day the Syrian people should decide who should be running their country for their own sake, and I think that they should really sit on one table and stating the fact that or asking for Bashar al-Assad to step aside, which also some European countries are asking for, that Bashar al-Assad should not be part of the solution, I think is kind of one-sided, actually, because we've seen some countries what chaos happened when suddenly there was a vacuum of power in like it happened, for example, in Libya, for example. We were very close to that chaos as well here in Egypt. So I think they should learn from what happened to the other countries in the region and sit on one table and find a solution for the sake of the Syrian people, not for their own sake.
Well, Mr. Mohamed Sheta, media expert, thank you very much for joining us, and welcome once again to Breakfast.
Thank you very much for having me, and have a lovely morning, you and your team.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And now we'll move to top stories, so please stay tuned.